Hey, what's up, fish friends? Today I'm going to be moving this 6.5 gallon tank. If you're interested in learning how that process works, follow along. Since I'll be moving this tank, I want to drain it down as low as possible. That means I'll want to catch the livestock out of here, fish and shrimp. Not worried about the snails since I'm just moving the tank from my garage to my home. It won't really be dried out that long, and I know the snails can handle that. Then drain the tank down as low as you can. If you're having a hard time getting all the water out, put a towel under the back end of the tank so that it pushes water towards the front. Then switch to a smaller siphon. That'll help you drain more of the water out. For a smaller tank like this that doesn't have a fragile hardscape, I can just pick it up and move it as is. As far as I'm aware, there is no hard cutoff, but my general rule of thumb is any tank over 10 gallons or 40 liters, I'm going to take everything out of. This planted soil retains moisture and can be really heavy. When you're moving a tank with heavy materials in it, you run the risk of damaging the seams or the seals. It just puts a little extra wear on them. They're really sturdy when you leave them in place, but as soon as you start putting moving pressure on them, you run the risk when you fill the tank that there'll be a small leak, or even worse, the glass will shatter. The other thing you want to make sure to do if you're putting the aquarium in a vehicle is that you want to strap it in. For this 10 gallon or 40 liter, I'm just shoving it in the front seat and buckling it up. But for anything larger, I would put it in the back of the van, which has a nice level base, and then I would strap it along the sides and to the bottom to make sure it didn't wiggle around much. Some other stuff to think about when moving a tank and setting it up again is that you can make some big changes to the tank. This one was due for a bit of a makeover, and that's what I'm doing, but it's also important to use some of the same substrate. So I'm backing up a few mesh bags full of the substrate because that's where the beneficial bacteria lives. The most common problem I see when moving tanks is that there's a bit of an ammonia spike in the first week or two. So it's really important to make sure that you check your ammonia levels every day or every other day for the first week or so. If you don't see any spikes, then you're probably in the clear. If you do, then do a 50% water change, and that should set things back to normal. If you're like me, you're going to be using completely new water in the tank when you set it up again, so make sure to slowly acclimate the fish, not just with temperature, but slowly adding water from the tank into the bag so that the fish can get acclimated safely. So the last thing that I deal with fairly common, being an aquarium design and maintenance company, is that I'll set up tanks at my home and move them to a client's house. In this case, the hardscape is kind of fragile. Each chunk of wood is glued to multiple rocks, and I don't really want to move it. So packing it in with a bunch of shipping materials, I also came in and filled the tank almost to the top with towels afterwards before moving it, and that was fine. You're going to kind of have to use your gut in this situation. If the rocks are really heavy, then maybe you don't want to move the tank with the rocks in there. So, use common sense. In this case, it wasn't too big of a load, and I went with it, and things worked out. That's it for moving tanks. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit that like and sub button if you learned anything today. It's a great way to support my channel and make sure that I can keep creating content for you. Until next time, see ya!